Hello, guys, and welcome back to more knowledge about talent management. This video is going to be all about the develop process. Again, this is just an overview. If you want to go deeper into each one of the steps of the develop process, please click on the specific buttons on each slide. Otherwise, if I did this by myself in this video, the content would be very, very long. So let's dive into the develop process and see what it's all about. Okay, develop process, it's everything that's happening after we recruit our members. So we've been through a whole get process and now our members are here. What next? We need to give them the education that they need in order for them to perform in their roles and therefore to make ISIC happen, right? So I'm sharing these materials with you. These are the materials where I've learned as well from everything about the TM processes and how to properly do my job. So I'm happy to give you access to the same materials. In this video, we are going to go through the 70-20-10 learning model. Then we're going to talk about performance management, national education cycle, and team leader capacity building. But before this, we just need to understand that the develop process gives the skills and the abilities that our members need in order for them to perform in their role, and the knowledge that we gave them needs to be as well aligned to the operational be aligned with the operational timeline, because otherwise we're not going to give them the knowledge that they need in a specific point to perform a specific task. But more about this we're going to discuss in the national education cycle part. First, the 70-20-10 learning model refers to how we learn as human beings. So this theory basically says that 70% of everything that we learn comes from very practical on-job learning. Then this means everything that you have to do on your job description, problem solving, things that are maybe a bit unpredictable and that you just need to find a solution for day by day in your day-to-day tasks. So in my opinion, this is the most precious part of learning because it comes from your experiences and it's something that you're going to remember because you've been in that experience, but also I think it's a funnier way to learn. Then 20% of your learning experiences comes from peer-to-peer learning. So be this a feedback from your team leader or a feedback from your LCP. Maybe this can be part of coaching or someone mentoring you, but this is definitely something that you learn from someone that you have next to you and knows how to perform in the task that you still are not performing at. So that's why it's important for us as talent management VPs to make sure that we have very good and very well educated members in our LC for them to be able to learn from one another. And then 10% of our learning comes from trainings, workshops, formal education, conferences, books, articles. This website, for example, this covers 10% of your learning, which means that after you watch these videos and after you take this test, talk to other people from your network about this content and then just go and put it into practice, because this is the best way to learn and the best way to understand these processes. So this is what the 70-20-10 model refers to. This is something that we can use in our national or local education cycle to facilitate learning for our members. Going to the develop process now, the first part of the develop process is performance management. And here you have a checklist of what do we need to do in order to make performance management happen in our LC. The first thing that you need to do is actually to make sure that your VPs are running and they're conducting personal development plan meetings with your members so that they implement the PDP. The PDP happens inside of the one-to-one. So first you need to make sure that your VPs have monthly one-to-ones with your members, because that's the space where the members set goals for themselves, they reflect upon their experience, they get feedback from the VP, they check the performance from the previous month, and it's just a space of reflection and goal setting for them, which is crucial for them to perform. Then every third month inside of the PDP, we have something that is called performance review. So every third month, when we do the one-to-one and the PDP inside of the one-to-one, the member gets to reflect and review the performance from the previous 3 months. So that meeting is particularly a very important meeting because the member gets to get some feedback from a performance on a longer period of time. And that's called performance review. Then after the performance review is happening, you need to make sure that your VPs are having a calibration meeting where they discuss how they interpret and how they score the performance of their members, because some people are more strict than the others, some others are more indulgent, and we just have very different standards for what we do. So you need to make sure that the performance of your members is evaluated according to the same standards. So that's why this calibration meeting needs to happen. Then after we have the calibration meeting happening and we have the scores according to the performance of your members, you can compile all these insights into one report that talks about plan achievement, talks about personal development, about learnings and takeaways that your members have from the previous 3 months. You compile all of this into one document that represents and reflects the learnings that your LC overall got. And the last point here is just monitoring the performance of your entity monthly and always brainstorming ways of improving it and making it better. If you want to know more about performance management, click on this button and get more knowledge about it. Then the second part of the develop process is something called team leader capacity building, which refers to us making sure that our team leaders have the capacity to lead teams and grow members in our teams. As you know, in our entity, we do not have a team leader structure, so we do not work with team leaders because we want our VPs to have a closer way of working with the members. We also don't have a lot of members, so that's why we don't necessarily need team leaders, but VPs working directly with members facilitates faster communication and makes sure that your VPs are always in touch with your members. So that's why we do not run this process, but we as MC, we take care that our VPs have the right capacity for them to be able to run teams and to be able to lead people. So part of this scope is covered by this national education cycle, for example. And the last part of the develop process consists of the national education cycle. What we are doing right now is part of the national education cycle. So this basically consists of giving education to our members according to the operational timeline. So, every month we have a specific focus. So in some months we are focusing on attracting new candidates and doing promotion, and then in some other months we are focusing on converting these people and finding the right opportunities for them and making sure that they are approved, and then some other months are dedicated to realization picks and so on. So that's why we need to give specific knowledge and specific content for our members to be able to perform in different phases of their job description. So that's what we need to do first of all every time that we think about education. Then we always need to think about the competence model and the core competences that I was presenting to you previously in the blue code, and make sure that we have content and that we nurture those specific competences in our members. And then education needs to happen according to specific global learning environments. So if you don't have access to this kind of information, please let me know so I can show it to you. But I assume that you already know that global learning environments can be, some of them are virtual, some of them are, for example, one-to-one or in conferences. But when you design the education for your LC, because you're not going to do national education cycle, you're going to work with local education cycle, make sure that you think of specific global learning environments that would fit a specific topic and make it easier to digest for your members. And then whenever you create education, just make sure that people have access to it and that your materials are accessible to everyone to access it whenever they feel like. So you're not going to design a national education cycle. I'm going to do this, but you're going to take care of the local education cycle, which is the same thing. It's just that it's at local level. It's not for everyone in the entity. Anyway, either way, the steps are the same. You just go through the very same steps in order to create this content. And this is it about develop process. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video when we're going to discuss about the keep process.